4 o'clock in the morning, you can get a pizza. You know, in South Africa, 4 o'clock, everybody's sleeping. 8 o'clock, the TV, you see like the lines, nothing. But in New York, man, I remember I was watching TV like 24 hours, reruns or whatever. I mean, but it was the greatest experience. I mean, I pray every day. I said, God, really, God gave me this chance. Now I'm in New York, the place that I dream about coming, listening to the great music. And I wanted to come to America and look at the plane flying over and say, man, please, can you come down and take me? You know, but now I'm here. So what do I do with this?
Oh, you hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right? Hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right? I know, hanging out right? Oh, you hanging out right?
Oh man, what year was this?
So this would be 70, 73, 74.
Wow.
Yeah, early
Yeah,
74.
that was the hardest time for everybody, like
Yeah.
in Africa too.
Yeah, I mean, I never experienced anything like that in Los Angeles. Nothing ever sort of came up with that, or New York for that matter, or Boston. And that was basically what my experience had been, other than driving across, and that was sort of like I was sort of like insulated in the band sort of thing. We never really had much contact with anybody. We got in we just kept driving and looking. You know, that was basically what we did. But
the home of Disney World. That's the last thing you would expect.
Yeah, I know. I mean. Disney World's down there. Why would that happen in Disney World? This is kind of weird.
As you know by now, we live in a very strange country.
Absolutely.
Gary, have you ever been to New York?
No, I haven't. I haven't been out of Texas.
John, you got to get him to New York.
Yeah, I thought about it, but you know, I mean,
After COVID.
the pandemic, man. The pandemic is really.
Well, after the pandemic is over.
Yeah,
No.
you know, and that's the thing is Gary got here just in time for the pandemic.
Now, John, your volume is still low.
Oh man.
John, your volume is still a bit low.
I'll fix it. Hang on. Sorry. 1 second.
Yeah, I got here like 6 months before COVID happened.
Yeah, I said Gary got here just in time for the pandemic, man. It kind of sucks, man. And that's the thing. That's the hard thing is like for example, Gary, you know, what you expected when you came to America, obviously,
Yeah.
you haven't had a chance to experience it, right?
I mean, I wish I could play with musicians like more, but after, you know, everything shut down, we have to like stay in home. You know, every class is turned to be online, so everything just changed. But I'm glad I can stay here. Some of my friends, they cannot even come.
Yeah.
That's a good way not to have friends, you know, especially like in Africa. Somebody, because, you know, like at home in Africa, people, they just show up, you know, like, you know, why didn't you call me? I know I don't have a telephone. I know your address. Show up. Now I can say, you know, my friend, don't come to my house, the pandemic. They're like, what is pandemic? I don't know. I'm still learning. I don't know what pandemic, but everybody says pandemic. But you know, you look at the ball with the things there. You know, that's the pandemic. Be careful. Don't come to my house. I'll tell you. I'll call you when I'm ready. But you know, this thing has been ridiculous. This pandemic thing, because I have two daughters, one of my youngest daughter, she just finished college, and she didn't get a traditional graduation because of this pandemic, and then she got a job as a teacher in Virginia, but she cannot go to the classroom because of the pandemic. So everything's got to be on computer, that's what they do anyway. Every day they got, everything is computer. But just to see people, it's very hard, and it's hard for musicians.
Yeah.
But really coming to America, for me also it was amazing. Like Stevie said, the place you just dragged by music. That's one thing that it makes you come to America. No Europe. I mean, I never think Europe because first of all, too, the languages are different in Europe. I want to go to a place where they speak English proper. you know. So yeah.
Even if it's not very well.
Huh?
Even if it's not very well.
Well, but
Look at Chuck's getting all pissed off at me now. Look at
oh my God, you got me.
Before you came on,
I couldn't go to a place where I'm struggling to learn English, but then they speaking, English with an accent, like, European, German accent or something, America was like, okay, it's a good place to go. I can say good morning, thank you, good night. I can add a little of clicking,
I can't do that.
That's awesome.
Not until
I do that when the bill collectors, they call me and then I say, good morning. They hang up. What did we call God Must Be Crazy House or something?
The guns must be crazy.
The movie.
Yes, I love that movie.
Oh my God, they call it Coca-Cola.
Yes, that's right.
So, so here's the question for all of our three. Yes, so was there anything particularly strange, confusing, funny, or hard to get used to about Americans?
About America?
About Americans?
Americans.
Yeah.
Yes. I always had a problem with the way you say herb.
Say what?
Herb. Herbs. You say herbs.
Oh.
And why you don't call it herbs? Because if it's a guy named Herbert, you call him Herbert. You don't call him Herbert. I've never been able to figure that one out. I always thought that was kind of weird.
Oh. Yeah, but you are used to it.
I got used to it,
But
I refuse to do it.
Yeah. What about garage or garage?
Yeah, well, that's not so bad. I mean, yeah.
Herbs.
Yeah, I mean, that's not so bad, but it's like you drop a whole word. Yeah, I mean, it's like you substitute a whole. You make it URBS instead of HERBS.
Yeah. It was funny. One thing I noticed between British and Americans is British people know how to cue.
Oh, absolutely.
Americans don't know how to cue.
Well, you're learning now with this pandemic, aren't you? Huh? That's another good thing. Nicely. Stand apart, not too close to somebody. Stand there in line.
Wait your turn.
Yeah. Be polite.
What about you, Gary? You haven't said much. Is there anything weird that you had to get used to about Americans? Different?
Yeah, I would say probably the food, American food. I just don't get it, like why people like burgers. Because like.
Have you seen what you eat in China?
Like so
I can show you photographs of what you eat in China.
So what that one?
That's
Now
weird.
the thing is, it's just I don't know what's the difference between burger and a sandwich. So every time I go to, like Chick-fil-A, I would say, hey, can I get a chicken burger? They'd be like, we don't have chicken burger. I said, but that's what I eat every day. Oh, do you mean chicken sandwich? I
Right,
mean,
right.
yeah, maybe. So I was like, what? Is there any difference? And then I Google it. And then I realized,
There,
okay,
there is
burger
a solution for that. I got a solution for you.
Okay.
Don't eat shit food. Don't go Chick-fil-A. It's shit food.
That's a good idea.
That's right. Stop eating that stuff. It's not good. You can knock one up. You can knock up whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. Make it yourself in 5 minutes. Quicker than it will take to go there, be in the queue and everything. You just go to the supermarket, buy some supplies, and then make your own sandwich, burger, whatever. Call it whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But let's get back to what you eat in China. Because I went to this place, I saw the stuff that you eat in China. You eat some weird grubs and scorpions, and it was and I actually turned around to this Chinese woman that was standing next to me, and I'm standing there looking at all these scorpions on a skewer, and they're moving, they're all alive,
Yes.
And I turned around and I looked at this Chinese woman, and I said, do you eat that stuff? And she went, oh, no.
Yeah, we eat everything.
Everything. Well, you have to. There's a whole bunch of it there. A lot of people. That's a lot of people to feed.
I don't know, but for me, a lot of people, they eat insects. They eat dog. They eat rabbit. Any animals they eat. All animals they eat.
Really? They eat dogs there?
What?
They eat dogs there? They eat dogs?
But they eat land. Shit.
How much could I get for a French bulldog?
But yeah, basically we just eat everything.
You know what I got in here? Look, I got to show you this. I'll show you on the other screen. Because this is mine. Can you see those in there? Oh, there they are. See them?
What is that?
Turtles.
Turtles?
Yeah.
We eat that. Yeah, we eat it.
You need that. You need that in the flash, wouldn't you? They're big plant ones. See, look at that.
We eat it.
Look at them. Look. There's two of them in there. Well, one of them's up there sunbathing. But they were this big when I bought them, and now they're like this. They're like this big. They're really big. And I got two rabbits. And I got a French bulldog.
You're not gonna go hungry, Steve.
No. So if anything, I ever get hungry, the first thing that's going to go is then turtles. So I need a good recipe from China, how to cook the turtles. And then the second thing to go is going to be the rabbits. And then the dog, and finally the girlfriend.
Eat everything.
Well, I get hungry, I've got to survive, right?
So this has gotten really weird. What was the hardest thing to get used to about America?
For me?
Yeah. Not the food.
No, the food, for me, everything was so good in America. Because, in Africa, you're very limited in terms of food. So when you get food, you go, I don't care what it is, as long as it tastes good. And then, we came to New York and everything was open. 4 o'clock in the morning, you can buy pizza, you can buy Carnegie, the Carnegie Daily sandwich. Woo! I mean, like, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But
now you got me craving a pastrami.
That's a strange thing in America. The weather is very strange. I mean, like, I remember 1993, I settled, met my wife, we got married, and then I started to see the snow. I was depressed. I was sleeping all the time. When it snows, then I go to sleep. They call me a grumpy man, and I didn't even know what that means. And I call my people in Africa, my friend, you won't believe it's like I'm in the freezer. It's crazy. You don't even see the cars going, you don't see the people. I mean, like, it was unbelievable. And then I had a daughter, 1996, during the blizzard.
Oh wow.
Man, it was unbelievable. I missed so home so bad, and I couldn't even have anybody to click on because all my clicking people they're in South Africa, so I can speak their language. Now I go to like a park and talk to myself, I'm a kind of
That's a good one.
And when I was doing that in Prospect Park, somebody turn around as I was talking to myself, just clicking to keep the clicking going. And then this lady told the cop, the New York police guy, and the cop comes to me and says, excuse me, you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm okay. The lady, she said, you were saying something and, your sound, your voice is what's going on. And I said, no, I was talking to myself, I'm from South Africa. I miss my language. So I was saying good morning to me and say, I miss my home, the cop was like, wow, you have a broken tongue? I said, no, my tongue is not broken. I'm like, because I miss the language until I met some people from South Africa that they're doing the Lion King. They're on Broadway doing the Lion King. One time I was waiting for the bus and I hear the clicking like crazy. I didn't say anything and I said, wow, let me listen to this. They click after they almost getting on the bus, and then I say something in Zulu. They stop getting on the bus. They hug me. Hey, my brother. Then we start clicking.
Oh man! Wow, it's interesting. Now, my next question was to all of you about what do you do to stay connected to home or to your identity? Chuck, it looked like you were about to say something too.
I thought I was going to hear what Steve had to say about what was the most, what did you say, uncomfortable? Or was what you asked Bakithi? What was the most?
Things to get used to.
Oh.
I got to tell you that was kind of strange too, because I'd lived in France for 3 years, and then before my first trip to the United States, and I'd lived in Italy for 3 years before that. So I had to learn. In Rome I'd lived with some Americans, so I knew what who they were. It's funny because I guess over the years when I go to England, they hear my Americanisms, I guess, so that because I speak it in Americanism so that American people can understand me. And then when I come back here from England after hanging out with my because my clickers are Cockneys, from the East End of London. So we hang out together and we start talking our slang, and then I come back here and I'm a little, I guess maybe my accent might be a little bit thicker. But I mean, when I first came here, people were constantly asking me to say something because they couldn't put my accent together with the black man's face. That was, I mean, I guess it would be easy if you see somebody with an African accent to speak, but when you see a black man with an English accent, it would just drive them crazy. And so it got me out of a lot of trouble.
That was
got me into some trouble too. With girls, got me in a lot of trouble with girls. But
that was another thing that was shocking for us when we were in England with the Graceland, rehearsing for about, I think, maybe 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
But we see the black people, but they speak different, and And I'm like, I don't understand. England, I thought it was for English people, but now we see the black people and we speak the language, the Zulu, and then they don't respond. And I'm like, it was a little different, but we got used to it as we, you know, there every day. And but like I was telling everyone earlier about when we rehearse in England, I had a bass technician that I could never understand the guy. I mean, like when he talked to me, I walk away because I just could not understand what he's saying. You know,
Where was
they
he from? Where was he from?
he was from England.
Okay.
He was from
What
England.
part of England?
Yeah?
Do you know what part of England he was from?
I think probably between Scotland or in England. I
Oh,
mean,
that sounds like Newcastle. I don't understand what they say up in Newcastle either.
like we want
Gip, 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 gip. That's what they sound like.
we were on tour with Paul and Sting, and then sometimes I'll talk to Sting because sometimes there's some songs that we play both bass and we exchange solos. But he'll talk to me about it, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't understand, But I wouldn't tell him that I don't understand. But I had to learn. But my thing, because I've never been to school, so everything was about learning. Travel all this part of the world and learning the money, the liras, Italian liras, or the German Dutch marks. All those things we were learning besides music now. So you're learning, like, going to all these countries and
But
learn
then they changed all that for you. They just made it the euro. They just changed everything. They simplified it just for you. Because they said Bakithi's having a problem with all this different money that we got here in Europe. Kronas and So we just make it, we simplify it, and we just make the euro, and then Bakithi doesn't have to complain about that anymore.
But no,
they keep us like liras, 2,000 liras, and we're like rich.
Yeah.
I remember being in London, and I had euro, and I went to 2 establishments around Ronnie Scott's. They refused to take my euro.
Right, they take pounds in England.
I had to go and get a cup.
Yeah, they didn't take euros in England because England decided that they didn't want Germany being in charge of their money, because the sort of central bank was Germany, and we still haven't got over the World War II yet. So we decided they decided in England to keep the pound and not go with the euro.
Well, John, how are we doing?
You're doing good. I mean, Gary never didn't get a chance to answer that question about what do you do to kind of stay connected to China?
Sorry, pardon?
What do you do to kind of stay like you feeling connected to home? Besides cooking food, WeChat. How do you stay connected to your family?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just use social media, like the one app we call WeChat. That's how we.
They use that a lot there, right, in China.
Yes.
In Southeast Asia, they use WeChat a lot. More than
yeah, because right now right here I can't really phone call them, so the only way is just WeChat call. It's pretty much the same. So yeah.
Do you have a lot of friends from? Are there a lot of Chinese students at UNT? I don't know.
I think UNT UNT doesn't have a lot of Chinese students. It's about, I would say it's about 300 in total. But majority of them are business major or psychology major, I guess. Yeah, but for music major, probably 80 students, but 65 are classical major.
Oh wow.
I think you know, I think a lot of it as far because I've traveled a lot, you know, since I was about 15. I started traveling, and I really enjoy. I don't know if this is the same for everyone, but I like to meet local people and have them take me to see whatever's local, whatever's they live as they live, you know. I mean, and I've managed to do that when I lived in France. I was playing with a French group. They took me around. In Italy, I worked with Italian musicians, and they showed me the things to eat, places to go. You know, I mean, even in New Yorkers showed me around and showed me some of the secrets that mainly New Yorkers know. You know, like in the Rockefeller Center, the guy that moves with the when you walk from one side of the room to the other. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, but New Yorkers know it. And I mean, I always like to hang out with people locally. So I mean, and it's always been interesting. Like when I went to Japan and played with Japanese musicians, because they don't hang out in Roppongi. All the American musicians sort of hang out around Roppongi, and that's where they take you to eat and do all that stuff. But when you go there with a Japanese band, they take you to these other places that they go and hang out at, and you get to experience Japan with them, you know, as they live. So I've always preferred to be more of a traveler than a tourist. And you know, my children, my son moved down to New Zealand. He's married a girl from New Zealand, and he's moved down to New Zealand. And I got family in England. I got my one daughter lives in Santa Barbara, and another daughter lives in Palm Desert, and another son that lives in Atlanta. So Zoom has been since that. I mean, we used to FaceTime each other, and I could speak to one of them one at a time. Basically, that's how we'd stay in touch. What was the other? There was the other platform. I don't think anybody uses it anymore. I don't know.
Skype.
Skype. Yeah, I never use that anymore. I don't do Skype.
Skype and the African app is called WhatsApp.
Yeah, I use it. I mean, WhatsApp is still used a lot. I think maybe because it's encrypted that people feel a bit safer using WhatsApp. But I love Zoom because you can get like thousands. I mean, I've got an account. I can get like all of my family on at one go, and we can all talk at the same time.
Yeah,
but
that's what's good about that, you know.
Well, there's different things, different platforms coming out all the time. I mean, you know, and most of them, like Zoom, took a little bit of a learning curve in the beginning to learn about it, to learn how to do it. But you know, I mean, now I'm really comfortable with it. You know, it's not really that hard to do. I do all sorts of stuff on here. You know?
Steve, I want to show you something. Let
I'm
me.
sorry?
Where's the camera?
Ah, look at that. Look, I had hair and everything too. Look how young.
You gotta say.
Look how
Say
young.
something.
Look how
Say
young and good looking.
Let's see that again.
Yeah. Getting the gray coming now.
Show us again.
Huh?
I couldn't see it because if you don't talk, the camera doesn't go to you.
Okay, listen.
How old was I there? 20?
Somewhere around there.
No.
Yeah, with Paul Jackson.
Paul Jackson Jr.?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. That was a long time ago.
You gotta say something, Bakithi. I can't see it.
You can see it?
Yeah, I can see it. That is so cool. I had hair. Look how much hair I had.
Yeah, and then I got look at Paul Jackson.
Wow.
He looks exactly the same. He never changes. I think he's got a painting in the attic or something. He never looks any different to me, Paul.
You know, I remember Steve when I was late in the session, I came in late and you guys, you were already there. And I said, I'm so sorry I'm late. And then he said, oh, no wonder you have a problem in Africa.
Wow.
I was late. No one.
Never being one to let anybody off the hook, you know.
Oh, man, that was...
So here's a good question for all three of you.
I think this was in the 90s, late 90s somewhere, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about like the pot calling the kettle black. I've never been really such a great timekeeper myself or something. You know, I'm always like 5-10 minutes late for something. So even if I set out like half hour early, I'm like 5-10 minutes late. And then just...
So here's a question for all of you guys. What are some things that you notice about American culture that Americans don't seem to notice themselves?
How they talk whenever they're talking about football. Have you noticed that? I mean, they can be the nicest, but nice and quietly smart. All of a sudden, they start talking about football and football, yeah, football, yeah, let's go see some football. There was just a complete change.
I agree.
Huh? Isn't that strange?
And we mean American football, right?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you start talking about American football, then your whole voice changes. It gets that football.
We had a guy from Cameroon who had a problem, a guitar player who had a problem with the football. He's like, my friend, they call American football, but they use the hands. What kind of football is that?
I know, exactly. That's it. But you know, the funny thing is that my girlfriend is a huge football fan, like a huge Green Bay Packers fan. So when the Packers play, she dresses the dog up in his Green Bay Packers outfit, and she walks up and down and swears at the TV screen and everything. She gets all pissed off if somebody does something that's dumb. I mean, you never seen anything like it, but she gets that voice too. It scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
One of the scariest moments in my life, I went to London. Me, Herb Lavelle, 5 of us went there to do a whole bunch of sessions with Denny Cordell. And I stayed in Denny's flat for maybe 3 of the nights. And he took me to a soccer game at Wembley Stadium. I was a nervous wreck for the next 3 days. And I'm talking about on the train ride, on the ride back to the apartment, the flat, I was scared to death. People were just crazy. And at the stadium, fights were all over the place.
Yeah, of course. I've seen 2 guys in a football game. Like they start fighting with each other, and then the police show up, and then they put their arms around each other. You know, got black eyes and blood and stuff everywhere. And they start, we're just dancing. You know, we're having a good time, nothing. And then the police are leaving, and they'll be back at each other again, fighting. It's the funniest thing.
Oh yeah.
What about you? What about you, Bakithi? Have you noticed anything about American culture that Americans?
Man, American culture. When I met my wife, and she invited to a house to see my brother-in-law, and then the family-in-laws and my mother-in-law. I tell you, I was quiet the whole time, and it was during the Christmas time. I was quiet because I was never been in America, in an American family for Christmas. And I couldn't communicate. And the mother, my wife's mother, she's from Virginia, really typical English. I mean, we could not understand each other, you know. But the only time we understand each other is the food, because we will cook the southern food like pig feet, you know, the chicken feet, and you know, like the traditional, the old stuff. And I said, that's like my home food. But that's the only time. But the rest, I just could not really understand the culture. It was so different. I was so depressed, and I sit in the basement. They're like, "No, come sit with us in And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I don't have anything to talk about. Unless my mother-in-law brings the newspaper and talk about Nigeria and say, what's going on in your country? And then I said, oh, which country? Nigeria. Oh no, I'm not from Nigeria, Mama. From South Africa is different, not Nigeria, you know. But you know, American, it's just amazing, you know, culture. You know, everything is so different, and it's so easy to adopt because it's so free. Like you can curse, you know, without any problem. You know, like I remember when we first landed in New York, like, and I was waiting at the light, and this guy was like cussing, and he's a big guy, like he's 7 foot or something. And he's like cussing, he's mad. And then I'm so scared, like, oh my God, I hope this guy doesn't shoot me. But you just learn because, especially in New York, you know, some other cities are different. Like Los Angeles, for me, I mean, I don't know. I cannot live in LA. It's too big. New York, at least, is good. You can, you know, jump on the train. Texas, I don't know. I cannot live in Texas. It's the accent is different, and it's, you know, it's a whole different state. You know, but now I'm in Pennsylvania, which is it's a whole different state too. Very important one in politics, though. But
What part of Pennsylvania?
I'm in Bethlehem, between Easton and Allentown,
Yeah. Yeah.
by the steel stand. You know where the steel company was.
Wow.
It's a
You know,
amazing state.
culturally, there's a very strange thing that happens in America because the national sports pastime is basketball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, baseball.
Baseball.
And I was taken by a friend of mine to a Dodgers game, and it was funny because nobody watched the game. I mean, there was a few people that were watching the game. Everybody else was eating and talking, and and then.
Well, if you want to watch the game,
to be
home and turn on the TV.
right, exactly. I mean, and then it was like they had to be encouraged to make noise. And you know, having been to a as you say in America, soccer game, you know that they sing and they shout stuff all the time. You don't have to encourage them to do anything, and they're all focused completely on the game. So that's a little bit different as well for me to see there's this social pastime that happens, and there's a few guys in there. I mean, I've seen guys with these big books and they write down everything that happens on the field, everything. You know, statisticians, I guess they call themselves. That's kind of strange too. And I mean, and the concept of a draw is not. Americans don't know about draws. About a tie game just never happens. It has to be settled. And some of the best games that you can have in football in England is it can be a draw. You know. And the other thing is when Americans win, if your local team wins, you riot and smash the place up. Right? In England, we only do that if our local team loses, and they got to lose pretty badly to do that too.
Right. Do you have a favorite UK soccer team?
Did I ever play? Or favorite one?
Do you have a favorite one? Yeah.
Of course, Brighton and Hove Albion. It's my home team, my local team. Premier League. They've been up there for 2 years now. Hanging on by the fingertips. They drew with Liverpool this weekend. They had a draw. They tied with Liverpool, 1-1.
You know, my favorite team in England.
League champions. We drew with them. They should have killed us.
My main team is Manchester.
Manchester United.
Oh my God, they play very well.
Arsenal.
Oh yeah, Arsenal is good.
We beat Arsenal.
They did.
Yeah, 2-1. We beat them.
Gary, you haven't said nothing. I gotta let you jump in there. So what?
What's your favorite football team?
Me, I don't watch football, but only one football game, only one soccer game I win is Manchester.
Ah, see?
Yeah, because I was staying in the UK for like 6 months, 10 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're in England.
Leeds.
All right, yo.
Leeds?
Dang, my volume keeps cutting down. So I guess we gotta let you guys go, man. It's been over an hour here. But so quick, what do you see on the horizon? You know, like during or after? What do you guys got coming up? What really cool things are you doing?
Yeah.
Who's first?
You can go first. I see you working on your aerophone.
Oh, yeah. You want to hear this? I don't know if I can play this. Yeah, I have a new single that just came out. It's called Electric Flow. If you go to my website is Bakithi Kumalo bass.com. And then I have a song, it's called the Electric Flow, because Electric Flow, I created it during the pandemic, and I was messing up with my basses. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all my sponsors, the NS Design, the Kissel bass guitar, and then also Phil Jones bass amps, and also Cordial Cable Pro from Germany, Cordial Cable. So those guys, they gave me all these gears, to create. So as I was, jamming and trying to get some good sound from this instrument, and I came up with this track. It's called the Electric Flow, with my friend from Philadelphia who's playing saxophone on it. And to raise the funds, when people download the tracks, I'm raising the funds so I can help the kids in South Africa to send it to the music centers, because they have music centers, but they have a lack of instruments, and also working with the Kala ukulele bass company, so they're gonna help me to send some bass, because for me it makes sense for me to support them, since the bass really helped me to get to this point where I'm at now. So to come back at home with the bass, I'm like a Nelson Mandela in the music, because Mandela was in prison for us. So I just went to visit the world. So now I can come back to the kids and say, look, drugs don't make you a better person. Drinking doesn't make you a better person. Music will make you a better person, and also will help you with your, everything that you need. So that album is for that. But the whole record is called "What You See Is What You Hear." It's gonna come out next year, and I have a bunch of people playing and singing, and I'm playing a bunch of stuff, and I'm singing and playing percussion, bass, some drum loops, and then the aerophone, this instrument.
And who manufactures that?
This is from Roland.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland, and it's got a lot of sound.
Cool.
Nice, cool.
Yeah, and it has one more sound, Miles Davis sound, which is I love very much. Let's see if I can find this trumpet. Oh, and then I got this. Gary might know this. Oh, one more from Gary. Mm. Cause I have to, as a music, I gotta try to juggle. Sometimes I'm a therapist. People they come in and I sit down, then I play the instrument. Close your eyes and create something. But yeah, but this is a really amazing instrument. It's good for the young people to write, and and create the big band, part. It's got all kinds of sound. I think 240 sounds.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it like an Iwi? Is that what it is?
It's a it's an aerophone. It's from the saxophone, designed for saxophone players.
Yeah.
It was a little different. It's a little different, but this one has got the fingering like the saxophone. So if you play saxophone, this is much easier to play. Mm. It can go very low, flugelhorn.
Yeah.
John,
So Steve,
we're rolling through this clock, my brother.
yeah, I know. So
Yes.
Garry, tell me what you got going on.
I'm just gonna be, working on. So I just started to work on some guitar, to learn how to play guitar, and just work on my drum set. I hope I can I can hang out with you guys more. And we just play some music. Yeah.
Yeah. And Steve,
Learn.
Well, all I'm doing at the moment is I do my radio show and my Tom Petty radio show.
where can we find that?
It's on Sirius XM.
Serious.
It's called The New Guy Show, Channel 31.
31. Okay.
And it's called The New Guy Show. It's called The New Guy because I'd only been in the band for like 24 years. And Tom always is, he's only been with us 24 years. He's the new guy called Steve Ferrone on drums. And so he used to introduce me.
Wow.
But so now it's been 28 years I've been in the band. And so I still do some Heartbreakers stuff here and there. I got my own studio. I've been working on an album for about 15 years now, and I've decided to do a little push and see if I can't get it finished. And that's going very well. I got a couple of guys that are coming over in a week or so, and we're gonna. I got the studio kind of set up so that the keyboard player is 6 feet away from the drums, and I can stay 6 feet away from the bass player. I got an upright bass, and I got my little jazz kit. And tonight I'm going to be sorting out, just swinging some microphones around and remicing up my main kit that I do sessions with at my house for people. And people still ask me to do sessions, and I think, I mean, the next gig that I got booked is not until June to go and actually sort of fill in for Mike Campbell's band, the Dirty Knobs. But whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. With the way that this the COVID is going at the moment, I don't know where we're going to be. I mean, I mean, from the beginning, I've probably been like on the pessimistic side that we weren't going to get out of this until the fall of next year, before we could actually maybe start working with some semblance of normalcy. I hope it's before that, but I very much doubt it. I don't think so. I'm not really just gonna do what I'm doing now and do a little work in my studio and do a little session here and there and work on my album, sit in my backyard And I deal a lot with people that are in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And so it's given me a bit more time to deal with that. I can do some charity work. I can do some other stuff like that. And I get to do podcasts like this and get to hang out with Chap Rainey. Yeah, I got to say, Chap, you've been my hero for years and years and years. And you remember when when we came through Dallas and I took you to meet Ron Blair, the bass player with the Heartbreakers. Man, he was just blown away. He's like a huge fan. He could barely speak when he met Chuck. Big massive brownie points for introducing. And he sat there, and I think he was talking to you about inner city blues and the number of different bass parts that you put on that, the intricacy that you used on in crafting that bass part, and lots of other bass parts. And, even the stuff that you didn't craft, where you just sort of played, for me, there's always been two schools of bass playing, and both of them are equally valid. One of them was Benny Benjamin, and the other one was the school of Chuck Rainey. Both of them equally valid. Both of them. I'm really happy that you asked me to do this. So I could sit here and have a chance to heap accolades upon him. He's probably blushing. He's sitting there like, man, he's talking too much about me. I'm going to heap a whole bunch of love on you, Chuck, and thank you so much for the great experience. I listened to you when I was learning how to play, and I played along with you, and I can't thank you enough for what you taught me over the years. And it's a privilege for me to be able to call you friend.
Well, Stephen, I tell you something. Thank you very much. And I am blushing, but ever the first day I met you at Atlantic Records, I knew we were friends, and that was 40 years ago.
I know.
You're getting older.
Yeah.
You're getting older. But I love you dearly, and I'm very glad that you joined us. Very glad, my man. I'll be glad when the COVID's over, so I can give you a hug.
Come on.
And I thank Chuck for all the lessons, the directions. You made me a better player in South Africa by listening to your bass playing and most other bass players, just to approach the song instead of being hectic and get fired for overplaying. Play simple, have a better tone, a good tone, and I tried to learn the stuff that you were doing, the double stops. It took me years. I mean, I said, did Chuck Rain overdub the bass or something? But when I saw you play, and I was like, oh wow, that's unbelievable. But thank you for everything, sir, and I'm just so grateful and honored to talk to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. John and I both have talked about you and Stephen for a long time and doing something like this. By the way, the last time you were here in Dallas, you took a solo on, can't think of the song. I think it was Diamonds on the Shoes.
Oh, Pro Diamonds, the one I was playing the fretless, yeah.
And the only thing wrong with your solo was that it wasn't long enough. It was only like
wow.
4 minutes.
Bakithi started sweating there. Oh, Jesus, what's he gonna say?
But it wasn't long enough.
It's almost yeah. It's almost sounded.
You almost gave Bakithi. You almost gave him a heart attack there, Chuck.
When Stanley Clark said when we did Anthony Jackson's birthday. And Stan Clark, he says to Anthony Jackson, you're one of the hell of a guy who can play a lot of round note and get away with it. So I mean, it was Paul's call, because when he calls me and say go up on stage, sometimes he calls me without a plan, and I'm thinking, wow, oh, now it's all of a sudden. What should I do? Because I'm not a solo guy. I just like to stay in the back and play with the drummer. Like Steve, he used to tell me all the time, Bakithi, keep it simple, stay here. And then he got me a drum chair that vibrates. I've never sit down in a drum chair. And he says, no, sit here so you can hear my bass drum. And then I sat and I said, Steve, no, this is making my stomach very bad. It says, no, that's okay. That's okay. You know, I'm like playing and then I hear this bass drum is doing everything. And Steve says, that's good. Now I'm just going to unplug this thing. So I'm uncomfortable now. I mean, like we got 2 hours to finish the show. But
Guys, thank you so very, very much, because that makes me feel good. You know, like I retired the first of this year, and in talking to people like you, and we've talked to about 10 people since February. You know, I'm not gonna put my bass down. I'm gonna pick it up.
no,
There you go.
this, you know, also
Don't do
your
that.
education continues, even if you're not there physically and teach, but people, they're listening to what you have done and still trying to figure out what you did. And, you know, and I still cannot wait to take you to South Africa. Hopefully when we get a good opportunity to take you to South Africa.
You've been
Because
promising me that for the last
no,
2
it's
years.
gonna happen now. After this pandemic, I promise. I'm gonna make that happen. I send them the CD. I'm gonna follow up again with the radio station, and then if they want to talk to you, you know, interview but they have the CD.
A lot of things take time, and all I have is time. You know, so like my brother, I'm just waiting. No rush.
Thank you.
Steve, Bakithi, I love you dearly. Good friends for a long time.
LET. Yeah, absolutely.
Gary, it's a
Absolutely.
pleasure to meet you. Finally, I've heard so much about you
My
From-
pleasure to meet you.
from Mr. Lee and from Jane and from John. You know, so I know you got it going on. 5-time champion. You got something happening.
That's all right.
Thank you.
And enjoy UNT. My daughter graduated from UNT.
Oh.
So y'all are the mean green.
The big green hot.
John?
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
Guys,
good to be here.
it's been a real pleasure having all of you. An honor. I'm so glad
Thanks,
we got
John.
to hang right.
I'm
It's
glad
been-
that I made it. I'm glad that I decided to check when I did.
And I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that you got that email, brother. I was worried, but man, this has been great.
I'm late.
And we'll be I'll letting you know when we're gonna release this thing so you can watch it back and
Thank you.
like your friends. But it's been amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of all of y'all. So for me, it's
Steve, say goodbye to Nipsey for us.
yeah.
And there he is.
Yeah, man. You
All
guys
right,
have,
guys. I'll
a
see
great
you soon.
evening.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Bye.
day. Stay safe. Wear your mask. You know, wash your hands and all that stuff.
God
And,
bless you. Yeah, be
Let's
careful.
talk to
Be
you.
cool.
I hope I see you guys soon. I hope at the NAMM show we have a nice reunion.
I'm not going to any more NAMs.
Yeah, I'm gonna drag you. I'm gonna take you.
Not next year, Chuck. The year after, you'll be dying to go. Year after this, you'll be like, I need to get some glory.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So,
All right, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
all
Bye
right.
bye.
Good night, y'all. We'll
Bye.
talk to you
Good night.
soon.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Jerry Robert and I'm the publisher at Black Card Books, and I'm telling you, we have just published this book, The Tune of Success, Unmasking Your Genius, by two musical geniuses who have played bass and played drums and contributed to lots of different albums, playing with Steely Dan, Quincy Jones, Aretha Franklin. I mean, these are two legends in the music industry, and if you've ever wondered about how you break into the music industry, and it's a business, it goes well beyond just talent. It's a business. This book will help you do it, and there's no book like it, and that's why we at Black Card Books could not be happier to have published this book. And if you are interested, or you know somebody who's interested in the music business, get yourself a copy and get them a copy right away. Guys, we are all excited about this. We know this is going to become an international bestseller, and it's going to help a lot of people go to the next level in the music business.